Welcome, Degens, to another edition of the Degen Docs. What is up, folks? It is the NFL Week 7 Fantasy Football and Best Bets Preview. That is right, folks. We are going to be talking NFL Rundown. We're going to be recapping our week a little bit, talking about a nice cash that we had. And, of course, we're going to look forward. We're going to talk about the Monday Night Football game. We got the Buffalo Bills heading up to MetLife to take on the New York Jets. We're going to talk about NFL injury rundown as we always do. More injury heavy, more fantasy football heavy. We're going through the biggest injuries, telling you what you should expect right now. We're going to talk about some waiver wire targets. And of course, we are going to tell you our early line locks, what we like, what we've bet right now. All right, folks, let's get it started. This NFL Week 7 Fantasy Football and Betting Preview edition of the Degen Docs on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPNDOC to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, folks, I am one of your hosts here, the Degen Doc, the OG himself. But more importantly, I am joined by my co-host, my brother in degeneracy, Mr. Professor Locks himself, a.k.a. Derek Bennett. How we doing tonight, brother?
Doing pretty well. Hey, definitely a busy weekend for me. Didn't get to actually watch many of these games. I was busy doing doctoral things as far as our degrees go with PT kind of stuff. So didn't get to watch a whole lot of football, but followed a ton of games. It sounds like we had a decent weekend overall.
I mean, look, man, for you, probably one of the best college football Saturdays on the slate. And it for your sake and your poor Buckeyes there, maybe it was best that you didn't get to watch all of that game. It's all right.
Yeah,
I'm right
there.
That
one I got to see the majority of, sadly. But yeah, tough loss. It definitely stings a little bit, but we move on. And I still think bring Oregon over to Indy in first week of December or so, and let's see who comes on top for the Big Ten.
Wow, already talking Big Ten championship, but I do think that is ultimately probably where it's all headed. So unless Indiana sneaks in, we'll see.
Penn State, but
no, fuck Penn State. Fuck Penn State.
Completely.
Yes, for my Florida Gators side, had Tennessee on the ropes, number 11 team in the country, and should have gotten it done. Billy Napier sucks. He needs to be fired. That's all I'm going to talk about that, because why don't we talk about the Pitt Panthers?
Hey, man.
6-0 for the first time since 1982. Well, hold on. I got this beer in front of me. I'm being so rude to you and to my guests. Cheers, folks. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Welcome to this edition of the Degen Docs. As always, we like to say thanks for joining us. Definitely get the chat popping, pop off the comment section. We are a live show. We want to hear from you guys. But the Pitt Panthers, man, really quickly, 6-0 for the first time since 1982.
Yeah,
Looks like they've got a team. Eli Holstein, Pat Narduzzi going for it.
Coach Deuce got him rolling.
Oh, my God. Who is this? What team is this, man?
Who knows?
With an offense and a defense that makes big plays when they need to. That's been fun, but even for me, more fun. I mean, you see the shirts, people, sportsgamingpodcast.com/store. Don't fade the fucking troops right now. I will even throw the little bitch seaman, the little Navy seaman over there, even though fuck Navy. I'm just kidding. I appreciate everyone who serves, but also fuck Navy.
Hey, Army and Navy, you know, that those last couple weeks of the college football season are shaping up to be dandies, even for your troops. That last week when it's, you know, Army Navy week, this might be a special one. Might be for,
look, so you
for
got
a spot in the playoff. Who knows?
Ranked in the top 25 for the first time in how many years? You got Navy, Army, both 6-0 right now.
Yep.
And like you're talking about, they're both in the AAC now. It's Army's first year in the American Division. So conference championship weekend, you know, could we possibly see Army Navy play back to back? Now the traditional Army Navy game is after the college football selection. So if these teams continue on the way they're at, we might have to have a conversation of, hey, how are we going to decide this? What's going to go on? Now, of course, both teams do play Notre Dame. So we will see. but Notre Dame just lost their star cornerback for the year. Never know. But more importantly, let's talk about the professional side. Let's talk about the real football here in the National Football League. Look, we debuted this segment last episode. I don't know if we've got a ton this week, but I'll open the floor up to you, see if you got anything. And that is the Red Zone NFL bitching hour. That is right. This is your time to take out your quarrels and your qualms. Say who you want to throw in the locker, what happened this week, what are your bad beats. So drop them in the comments if you got any. My friend, do you have anything you'd like to bitch about before we start the show?
Yeah, and this is where it's one of those things where I didn't know whether it was a bitching hour thing or if it's what really grinds my gears.
What do we got?
People basically like flat out lie. Right? When really what I'm talking about is the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, yes. This is a good one.
AR was ready to roll last week. He'd practiced the last part of the week. Everybody thought, Anthony Richardson's back. That offense definitely looks different with him versus Joe Flacco. Big time fade move on my part, fading Anthony Richardson. I just don't think that offense looks nearly as good with him controlling it. Absolutely. And then Michael Pittman, all inclination. Hey, this guy's week to week. He's probably not going to play. He's going to be out this week. IR. Yeah. We have Michael Pittman. He scores a touchdown. Flacco, puts up some decent numbers for a 72-year-old man, and does lead the Colts to a victory over the Titans. So that was a bad beat for my locks last week. And then can we talk about how bad the Cowgirls looked yesterday?
Oh, we don't have to bitch about that.
Smokes.
We can celebrate that.
The only thing I want to bitch about is basically they were so bad that CD was just, he had a decent day, but holy smokes, if they're in that game, he picks up another like 6 yards or whatever to hit his over and make my props 3-0 for the week. But instead, sitting at 2-1, can't bitch too much because when the Cowboys get absolutely crushed, it's usually a pretty good day.
No, yeah, and going off both those points you made with the medical staff, yes, the Indianapolis Colts was an egregious one. How you gonna, the Anthony Richardson one was annoying. I think the Michael Pittman Jr. one is worse. You're talking about week to week. Not only that, missing multiple weeks, potentially IR, indicating some type of lumbar spine structural issue, and he's just gonna fight through it. Like what, and he had a touchdown catch. He didn't light it up, but he went against the number one pass defense in the league, got himself a touchdown there. So and then James Cook tonight. We'll talk about it, but he was inactive. And turf toe off 1 week, that is not a surprise. The surprise is Rappaport, Schefter coming out and trying to say that he's going to play. And, with his agents and saying he's going to play, like that was the surprise. Sure. So hopefully, when we give out some of these picks, I'll have to check some updated numbers because as someone who was already fading Cook, I'm sure now that's going to be an interesting line here.
It was interesting, especially going back to your Cook point there. Probably, I don't know, an hour and a half ago. Like I'm usually not one to sit around and I watch ESPN probably more than I should, but I'm not one to sit around and watch like the hour and a half, 2 hour long,
pre-game
stuff. And for whatever reason, I was sitting there messing with my laptop, had it on, and here comes James Cook limping in into the stadium, and I immediately texted you, and I'm like, that dude's not playing. Luckily we had already gotten some things in for a couple other guys that should benefit because of his absence, and those lines have already moved sadly. But
talking about some things that we were trying to help out with. When they elevated Frank Gore Jr., that was a huge sign. We tweeted that out over on the Degen Doc over on X there, which is why we encourage you guys to follow us, not just because we want followers, but if you really want to get up-to-date shit and jump on it, especially the injury world, you really like that up-to-date information. Like the market's changed so fast. Everyone knows that. We're not telling you anything crazy. But to truly, once we saw that, I tweeted out, I said, look, this is a James Cook play. Whether he's going to play or not, he's definitely going to be limited. Like this is a sign that his is not going to be there. So, as we get into some of these other guys, but really quickly on Lamb, this is their second time they've got blown out so bad that Lamb was so close to his prop that he didn't hit. He had 89 yards, I think, up in the third quarter, and then they basically sat him. So that didn't hit your play. And I had a similar one against the Saints where they got their ass kicked.
Right.
And it was just so bad. So fuck the Cowboys, but I can't complain about them getting beat too badly. Also, I'm really not going to participate in this bitching hour much because I had a decent cash. Hit a nice little Hail Mary, throw a dart on him. 98-1. Tyler Allgeier is a guy I talked about on the episode on Thursday. He was one of my official props. That was just at 40, yards back, just to give you something safe. But Allgeier and Bucky Irving, two guys I was talking about all week on this show, on the other shows that I do.
Some injuries for sure.
Had a little bit of faith in those guys, and they absolutely came through. Both of them hitting the 80-plus mark. Allgeier popping over 100 there. That was the highest levels of their ladder that I was able to take. And for Bucky, it was before Rachaad White was officially ruled out. But we were telling you, Rachaad White was not going to practice. Bijan, he's got the hamstring, but also that Carolina Panthers defense is just that bad. So hopefully, in some form or fashion, we're able to enjoy the cash with us on the Bucky Irving and the Tyler Allgeier play. Before we move on to Monday Night Football, kicks off in probably about 45 minutes here. I do want to talk about one thing. I want to bring this up here. Let's talk about the team that we have absolutely faded all season. The Cleveland Browns. This is that's
a man possessed right there.
This is Kevin Stefanski, two times coach of the year, Kevin Stefanski. They're asking him, look, man, you got the worst offense in the NFL. Are you going to make a quarterback change? Let's hear what the old ball coach has to say.
Yeah, I think it's just important that we continue to do everything we can to play good, sound football. I think there were moments of that, obviously, yesterday. I think Deshaun gives us the best chance to win.
Hold on. I must be hearing that in program.
I gotta turn that back up.
Yeah, let me hold on. I apologize, audience. I had to have heard that incorrectly.
I think Deshaun gives us the best chance to win.
What?
Continues to give us the best chance to win, and we need to play really good offensive football.
Deshaun Watson gives us the best chance to win. That tells me one of two things. That tells me that either they think Jameis Winston is that fucking bad, or Kevin Stefanski is in a trap. He's being blackmailed. You see it in his eyes. If anyone's ever seen Get Out, he looks like he's being paralyzed. He's under a trance. This is not under his own volition. Kevin Stefanski, blink twice if Deshaun Watson is holding you hostage, because there is no way anybody with any type of football knowledge, football mind, can watch Deshaun Watson and say he gives anybody in the NFL a chance to win, especially the best chance to win. So Cleveland Brown fans, I apologize. You have to watch that terrible offense. Hey, they did cover this week, but it was the blocked field goal. It was the Eagles' ineptitude, whatever it may be. But Deshaun Watson does not give anybody the best chance to win in the NFL.
And we've seen this as recent as last year. You bring a gunslinger in like Joe Flacco. Oh wait, we got another gunslinger sitting on the bench with Jameis Winston. They fixed his eyes, so hopefully he's not seeing 16 receivers out there. Give the dude a shot at this point.
How much worse
offense is so inept that how exactly?
Did you see the stat? I think it was one last thing. I think he was 0 for 26 in his last third down attempts. You know how fucking demoralizing that is as a team? These guys are out there giving their life, giving their limbs, life, eyesight, as we saw with fucking Aiden Hutchinson on this last gruesome injury, man. Like, these guys are battling out there, and you're going to tell me that's what we're throwing out there? Like, Joe Flacco just took this team to the playoffs, man. It's a shame. But all right, we're moving on. We're focused on this week. And that includes, we're going to include Monday night in that. We're going to wrap up, obviously, week 7 with our Monday Night Football preview. And then we're going to head into looking at NFL week 7, how we can start making some cash, how we can win some fantasy matchups. Bye weeks this week: Chicago Bears, Dallas Cowboys are the bye weeks. And
a couple teams going in complete opposite directions there.
Yes. One team very much needs a bye week. The other team on a bit of a roll there.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I want to tell you about, first off, thanks as always. We'll do another cheers to you folks. Cheers to the good people out there listening, keeping the airways Thank you, as always, for tuning into the Degen Docs. If you can do us a favor and head on over to Spotify and give us a 5-star rating and review, only you can prevent corporate gambling from taking over. Hey, we say it all the time. Look, we're a new show.
Right.
Our first season. We appreciate any shares, comment, like, subscribe, feedback. If you like, hey, I like what you guys are doing, but hey, we're looking to doing this segment. Again, things are flexible, things are fluid. We're trying to give the best product for you guys. Obviously, we're trying to make sure we give you kind of our medical expertise on the injury side, and then also have a good time talking ball. So we appreciate you guys. Any like, comment, subscribe. Also, if you can help out as the, it kind of fades out of the national media limelight, we definitely don't want to forget about those victims with Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. We have specifically teamed up with mountainprojects.org, helping out Western North Carolina there. It's a local kind of grassroots charity foundation. So please, if you can donate, it will be in the show notes, but mountainprojects.org. I believe it's just mountainproject.org there to help out those hurricane victims. And obviously, thoughts and prayers for anybody who's got any family, loved ones dealing with that, man. Mother Nature, she can be a fickle bitch sometimes. So definitely keep in contact with your people, prayers up for them, and definitely help out if you can. And if you can't, do your part and just spread awareness, like, retweet, all that stuff that the main page puts out there. All right, folks, let's get into it. Let's talk about Monday Night Football. I love all these primetime division rivalry games. I don't know if this is always how it's been, but recently, like Thursday night, Monday nights, been division
rivalries. It seems like the NFL took the Monday and Thursday night games, and at least early on here in the season have given us some good matchups. Now, coming up here in a few weeks, it looks like our luck is going to run out with some of these better matchups. But for right now, give us the division matchups. Give us some of these cream of the crop guys, star players in those primetime games.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we go into this preview here, as we always do, we're going to start with the basic information up top. I apologize for looking at my phone, but given all the news, oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting. Things haven't really changed that much.
They really haven't.
They've honestly, went in a different spot.
We're still sitting at Bills laying 1.5. Total is still sitting at 42. Bills are on the money line at -125. Jets sitting at +105.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So given the James Cook news, it's actually moved closer towards the Bills for whatever reason. Let's talk about some of those.
The props have changed, but the main spread totals, not a whole lot of movement here.
Not really at all. That's pretty surprising to me, but that gives you a great chance to get on the side that I was already going to be on. So I will tee it up there.
Who do you like tonight, Seb?
Well, let's go through the injuries and talk like that. Sure. I will let you start, and then we'll go through there. Let's tee it up. So Bills out tonight. Ed Oliver, defensive tackle. Von Miller still suspended. Matt Milano still on the IR. James Cook, a bit of the surprise, not surprise, dealing with the turf toe. Mild cases, about a 1 to 3 week injury. This is something that can nag, something that can build on. Especially coming off, they'll be on a short rest week next week. I don't hate this decision. I think it's probably a smart decision there. It's now guaranteed he plays next week, but his chances are a hell of a lot better with him sitting tonight. Khalil Shakir, he is active. This was a bit surprising. He only had one limited practice all week, coming off a high ankle sprain there, playing 1 week after only 2 weeks removed from a high ankle sprain. Difficult to do, not something we recommend. So we'll talk about that more a little bit. Taron Johnson makes his return after practicing all week. He should be good to go. More of a forearm injury. Typically something with the bone. Once the bone's healed, he's good to go. Jets side of the ball, out tonight. Really the biggest thing is Michael Carter, their nickel back there. He is out. But they do get back CJ Mosley, who is a huge piece of that defense. He was dealing with a turf toe injury. Now he's, after missing several weeks, is back. And Tyler Conklin is active despite limited practice all week there for Conklin. Okay, so those are your injury notes. Also, Morgan Moses returns. They got Lekai Fotu, defensive tackle, is back from IR. And then Rodgers is banged up and old, but he is a full go. So how do you see this game going down, and what are your favorite plays for tonight?
Yeah, even with all of the hoopla with the Jets over this past week, for whatever reason, historically, we've seen a little bit of a bump on the side for the team that, switches up the quarterback or gets a coach fired. So I am on the Jets at +1.5, as well as on the money line tonight. As far as some props go, I really think Lazard is a good option to go. I'm still kind of fading Garrett Wilson a little bit for whatever reason. We saw last week he had whatever it was, 20 some targets. But for whatever reason, that connection just still hasn't completely gotten worked out. And Alan Lazard has definitely still has that connection with Aaron Rodgers. So I took his over 3.5 receptions. I did earlier today take Ty Johnson to score. But
what'd you get him at? I know it'll be different, but
I got him at +700.
That's nice. Yeah. Okay.
Earlier today. So, but I do like both Jets running backs to have a little bit of a day here. So I took Breece Hall over 100 receiving plus or rush plus receiving. And then I just took Braylon Allen's normal rush and receiving overs. I think his receiving was 10.5. I can't remember what his rushing was. And then I have both of those guys to score tonight as well. But I think from the Bills side of things, having a guy like Ed Oliver out in the center of that defense is huge. We know that their linebacking core has been beat up most of the season. And from that, tight ends, running backs have really been able to take advantage of them in the passing game as well as in the running game a little bit too. So, and then on the offensive side of the ball, James Cook being out, Khalil Shakir being beat up. I just don't see Josh Allen having many options, right? And he has kind of struggled with that over the last couple of weeks. Unless he completely takes over a game like he has in the past, I really think that this is a Jets sort of night.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna drop the John Hancock down and then co-sign a lot of what you're saying there. So I'll go through quickly what I agree with you and then talk how I see this game going down. So yeah, I'm on Jets money line. I read it earlier today at +100. It looks like you can get +105, +102. You can maybe get a better number there. I'm not gonna mess around with the +1.5. Just give me the money line. Under 41.5. I know. I just think both these defenses are ahead of these offenses right now, especially with no James Cook. Khalil Shakir, coming off a high ankle sprain, only 2 weeks off. I'm not expecting. He had one limited practice. I'm not expecting a lot here tonight. I haven't been a chance to look.
He has been the most consistent wide receiver for those.
By far. If he was in and healthy, he's the guy I'm targeting. Yeah. Especially with Michael Carter as the nickelback. He's out. I'm just not expecting a lot from Khalil Shakir. If he was healthy, though, that slot position is going to be huge for trying to take advantage of this Jets defense. But you got two defenses that are really good against the pass, and they've got some vulnerability against the run. But I think it's going to be having to take some time to get down the field. Neither of these offenses are really shown to be super explosive. I know the Bills put it on the Jaguars, but everybody puts it on the Jaguars. Come on, let's be honest there. Like in the Jets, I think that they're able to maintain Josh Allen. I think Cook being out is huge, and I think Shakir being banged up is also huge. And CJ Mosley coming back for that defense. He's the leader of that defense. Let's not overlook that by any means. Also, again, I'm going to give out these kind of plays, and we'll see where the numbers are. I haven't had a chance to look through, and I'm sure some of this stuff is messed up here on the Bills side. But I do like Josh Allen over 40.5 rushing yards. When I took it, it was +130. I'm sure it's closer to even money or -110, whatever it may be. I do think, with Cook being beat up or not in there today, I think he's going to have to use his legs. And I think, honestly, that's where you can take advantage of this Jets defense that is very solid, but no Hassan Reddick, no Jermaine Johnson, who's out for the year with his injury. So there might be some rush lane integrity that's going on. And Josh Allen, it's prime time, man. He's going to be looking to run the ball. Ray Davis, I liked him over 15.5 rush yards. Again, I got that a little bit earlier in the day, so we will see. But the way that I'm going to tell you how to do this is I think Ray Davis is the guy to target through the rushing game, and I think Ty Johnson is the guy to target through the receiving game. I think those are kind of how they play it. I think Ty Johnson, I took him at 25 plus receiving yards. That was kind of my sprinkles at +380 earlier today. Again, wherever that number is. But the way I'll say it is I think Josh Allen, Ray Davis are going to be how they attack him on the ground. And I think that Ty Johnson is the guy coming out of the backfield who's going to get a decent amount of work, especially with a beat up Shakir there. On the Jets side of the deal here, look, the Bills give up, let's see, they give up 144 yards a game in their rush defense there on the ground. So I think that's where the Jets want to be. The Jets their interim head coach is a defensive coordinator. What do defensive coordinators like to do? They love to run the ball and they like to play good defense. So I think that's what they're going to do here. Now, my target, Braylon Allen. I don't know if it's just because Tyler Allgeier, Bucky Irving, Tyrone Tracy have done me so well, but I really like Braylon Allen. I think he's the bigger back. I think he's the one who can impose his will here. So I like his anytime touchdown at plus 320. I also like 75 plus rush and receiving at plus 350 there. I really do think Braylon Allen gets loose here. I think that not only through the ground, I think through the air, a couple of those screens, Rodgers is throwing a lot of short stuff. And, speaking of what Rodgers is going to do, I like Tyler Conklin over 3.5 receptions at plus 120. He is active tonight. And you got Christian Benford on the outside working on Garrett Wilson. You got Taron Johnson, one of the best slot corners in the game, working on Alan Lazard. So as much as he likes to target those guys, those are going to be tougher matchups. So I think he's got to go Conklin's way and use the running backs there. So I like Conklin. And then also Terrell Bernard over 8.5 tackles. Full practice. He's fully back. He is the leading tackler on this team from last season. He was banged up. People kind of forgot about him. Give me over 8.5 tackles. It was minus 105 earlier today. And a little bit of sprinkles. Jeremy Ruckert, anytime touchdown, 11-1. A guy who they like to use the tight ends in the red zone. Eyes are going to be on Conklin. I think he's a guy who can slip out there. And then, I talked about Ty Johnson, but really I'm on Braylon Allen's ladders, whether it's rushing or receiving. I really do think Braylon Allen has a night tonight. So yeah, like you, I like the Jets. I like the under, and I like some of these backup running backs to get some work here. All right. Let's move on to our injury rundown here. So look, folks, we're going to be talking about the biggest injuries heading into the week, heading into this NFL Sunday. So let's go ahead and kick this off. Let's talk about the biggest news, the most unfortunate news first. Aiden Hutchinson. Look, we're not going to show the video. The video is gross. It's really, really unfortunate. You can see his entire leg snap. You can see his leg dislocate. Fractured tibia and fibula, required emergency surgery. You want to make sure there's no vascular structures that get compromised. We don't want to, essentially worry about losing the leg there.
Yep.
So immediate surgery was performed. It was successful. He's going to be out for the season, looking at around at least a 4 to 6 month recovery timeline, if not more. Mm-hmm. Is there any chance he plays this season, in your opinion?
So, no, and I will tell you why. So, let's get this off the screen for just a second. I'm going to hijack this. We're going to go to the professor's office hours for a second here. Okay. So in Degen University, and yes, that is a thing. If you go to the main show, Sean and Ryan both are professors as well in Degen University. You can get a diploma, all that kind of stuff. But with an injury like Aiden Hutchinson had, basically, like you were just saying, first thing, as soon as we see that break, we're super concerned with some artery and nerve kind of things. So anytime that lower leg breaks, we have a bunch of pretty major arteries going through the back part of the leg there, and then that tibial nerve as well. Anytime things start to break, those things turn into knives and spears, and knives and arteries don't mesh very well. But at the end of the day, he had a surgery something like this. So with that tibial shaft fracture, basically what docs will do is what is called intermedullary nailing. So they basically put a titanium rod all the way through his tibial shaft, most likely, and then put some screws, some nails on both sides of that fracture just to make sure everything is stable and nothing is moving around. Definitely a major, major, major surgery to have. This is a 4 to 6 month recovery in general. As far as, him being able to walk and put weight on that leg, it really just depends on the surgeon's preferences. Some will allow you to start putting pressure on it pretty quickly. Others won't let you start doing that until that 6 to 8 week mark. But in terms of your original question, will we see Aiden Hutchinson back this year? No. This is going to be a major recovery for him. Even if they make a deep playoff run, I do not expect him to get back for the Super Bowl. Like I said, this is a 4 to 6 month recovery most of the time. And a lot of times, once we start putting that hardware and things in there, we start becoming concerned for other things as well, such as infections and stuff with major surgeries. But in the meantime, a surgery like this, a lot of times we actually see better long-term prognostics, better futures, if you will, than things like ACL tears, meniscus tears, things like that. So at the end of the day, this is a bone thing. It's not soft tissue. So outlook-wise, things are still looking good come this time next year.
Look at this, fucking folks. Look, you just got an official office hours from a professor, whether the fuck you wanted it or not. All right. I feel smarter after coming off that, so I hope you do as well. Yeah, that was great in-depth analysis on the Aiden Hutchinson injury there. So let's continue on. Let's talk about some fantasy guys here. I love how you wrapped it up here. There's a shit ton of hamstrings this week. So let's talk about what we think. We'll talk about it kind of from a holistic view and then apply it to some of the bigger guys. Hamstring injuries, the most burdensome injury in the NFL. You're going to hear me say this every single week. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Look, it's an injury where you feel better before the tissue is healed, high re-injury risk.
Yep.
I do not expect guys to play the week after hamstring, especially these guys labeled week to week. You're looking at 2 weeks minimum. And a lot of these guys do end up on the IR, as we just saw, Nico Collins, AJ Brown, Devonta Adams is missing time. Like, this is not a short-term thing, especially mid-season. These are bad injuries to have, especially to your running backs, your wide receivers, your DBs. So getting into that, we have Travis Etienne, Jerome Ford, two starting running backs right now. Do you expect either of them to play next week?
I do not, especially with Tank Bigsby really having a down week this week, but part of that's just getting down pretty early to the Bears.
Game script, yeah.
But yeah, as far as the game script go, that it was just ugly for the running game. But the week before, kind of showed out when Etienne was out with that shoulder issue. So I do like Tank Bigsby going forward. They've started to kind of split carries to begin with, and Bigsby has really looked like the more explosive back, in my opinion. With Jerome Ford, it's kind of just a bad time for him because we do have that guy, Nick Chubb, starting to get back into practice, starting to, get back into football shape, if you will. I don't expect him to really suit up for another couple weeks in general. But like you said, this is at least a 2-week thing, most likely. So will those timelines start to cross over potentially? And if they do, my guess is even though he's possessed, Stefanski will want to get Nick Chubb back there in the backfield as quickly as possible.
Yeah, no, look, you mentioned Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb, I do expect him to be activated this week because he has to, right? His practice window was open. If they don't activate him by the end of this week, he has to be out for the rest of the season. So right. I do expect him to be activated, but I don't expect him to come and hit the ground running. So we'll talk about both these guys are going to have to do with our waiver wire targets this week. So we'll kind of hold off there. Moving forward, we got some defensive guys here. Kyler Gordon, Jordan Mailata, Justin Simmons, Jamil Dean. All huge pieces to their respective defenses. Definitely. Right? And offensive line. Yeah. Mailata, right? Left tackle. All guys, I mean, Mailata is week to week, going to miss multiple weeks. He got carted off, right?
Yep.
All these other guys also, I know that we haven't got as much information on them, but I'm not expecting really any of these guys to be able to suit up next week. Which is a big loss in all these positions, right? Justin Simmons, safety there, when they play Seattle. Jamil Dean, the best cornerback that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. Definitely. So some guys these are big enough guys are going to impact lines, impacts props. So we'll talk about it more on Thursday. But guys to watch out for when you're going to be getting on these early action there, realize that these guys are very likely going to be out of the lineup. And then Dallas Goedert as the Eagles play my New York Football Giants. Look, Grant Calcaterra came in, had a pretty solid week. He went out early in that game and wasn't not able to return. The fact he wasn't able to try anything tells me, he actually injured his hamstring, right? So I do not expect him to be playing as well. Any differences with Goddard, in your opinion?
I really don't think so, no. I mean, with all of these hamstring things, like we were saying, most likely this is a 2 to 3 week thing, and potentially depending on severity, it could be more like a 4 or 5 week thing. It all depends on severity, how guys are healing. But at the end of the day, these guys are probably at least missing this week, potentially weeks to come.
Yeah. And then move over to the concussion side of the equation. We got 3 big concussions this week.
Yeah.
Pat Surtain, Olave, and Marvin Harrison Jr. With the way that the NFL has been handling concussions this season, I am fully expecting all 3 of these guys to not play, especially Surtain and Olave. That should not be a surprise. They play on Thursday Night Football, so there's no way they're clearing the concussion protocol. Both of them did not practice today. There's no chance they clear by Thursday. Marvin Harrison Jr. obviously is the one that's a little bit more in question, but based on how the NFL's handled it, look, 5 years ago, they had a pretty good shot. Most of the guys were returning within a week, max 2.
Even within a couple years ago, it
was not that crazy. Nowadays, at least this season has just not happened. So fully expect these guys to be out. Start making some mental, do the mental gymnastics in your head, some pivots on where you want to go. And we're going to talk about Wavier in a second.
And with the concussion things, last year we started to see this trend where guys were missing at least 1 week, potentially 2, early on in the season. And then around the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas time comes around, those division races start heating up, wild card races start heating up, and guys were starting to come back. But we're only a third of the way through, which is crazy to say that we're already a third of the way through the NFL season. But I don't expect any of these guys to suit up, especially Surtain and Olave, like you said, for Thursday night.
Yep, there. All right, let's talk quickly about some bigger injuries, and I want to talk about some guys who can return here.
Sure.
Zach Frazier, starting center for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thankfully, nothing really structural there. He's week to week. I don't expect him to probably play this next week, maybe the week after, but nothing long term, which is honestly good news based on how things were initially thought. Definitely. About the opposite for Jonathan Allen, pec tear out for the season. This is a team that, let's be honest, is squarely in the playoff picture, and he's one of their best players, if not their best player on defense. So that is a huge loss, especially as they try to stop the run game there. Some other guys we really got to kind of need more information. Azeez Al-Shaair for linebacker for the Texans, left tackle for the Texans, Larry Tunzel, and left tackle for the Giants, the best player on their team, Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas, basically, he played the whole game, but he was hobbled clearly at the end. He's going to get an MRI on his foot today. I haven't heard anything. They haven't released anything, but that is just such a massive injury to that team if he's going to miss time. So ones to watch for there. For guys that are going to be returning, Cooper Kupp has a chance to return this week off his high ankle sprain, suffered in week 2. So that puts him 4 or 5 weeks after, definitely within the window, about that 4 to 6 week window. It may not be fully 100%, but someone who obviously 80% Cooper Kupp is much better than what they have. What do you think about Cooper Kupp possibly returning this week?
Yeah, I kind of expect him to return this week, especially them coming off of that bye week. I think, like you said, that Rams team in general has been super, super close at getting wins, but they have just been on the wrong side of the ball every single time this week, except for, I believe, one time. And I believe it was the Niners that they took off. But I hope that he comes back for his sake, the Rams' sake, and my fantasy team's sake.
There you go. Yep, there you go. Jonathan Brooks, practice window open, the rookie out of Texas, who I spent a lot of time talking about, telling you to not get your expectations too high. You got a rookie 10 months when the season started, coming off an ACL tear. Now he's closer to 11 and a half months, which is good. But Chuba Hurt's been playing well, man. I don't expect – look, the practice window is going to be open this week. I'm not expecting him to play this week. I think they're going to ramp him up. They suck. Why rush your future franchise running back? I like Jonathan Brooks. I think he's going to be the best running back out of this class. But this season, there's no real need. Their team sucks. And Chuba Hubbard's actually been pretty good. Like, running back position is not their problem for the Carolina Panthers. So, I would not get too excited there for Brooks. Do you have any – what are your thoughts? You agree?
Completely agree. Like you said, that offense in general has basically been awful, except for the one game where Andy Dalton took over for Bryce Young. I don't see him necessarily coming back and making a huge difference, especially, again, game script wise. They're going to be down in a lot of games. And what that means is Andy Dalton or Bryce Young is just going to be trying to fling the rock around. And I just don't expect much.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. that is it for the injury rundown. Of course, folks, if you have injury questions, concerns, comments, go ahead and drop them in the comment section there. All right. Contest time. Look, we are still running our road to 100 subscribers contest. That is right, folks. Very, very simple. Joseph, my man, you did miss the Monday night props. I will give you a very quick recap in 2 seconds here. But road to 100 subscribers contest. Look, we just put the link in the comment section. It's very simple. Subscribe to the show. Take a screenshot. Submit proof. And boom, you're entered in your chance to win a $100 SGPN gift card. Look, you can get cool shirts like this. We want to give away this money. We want to give away our boss's money. All we need from you guys, look, we're about 75 subscribers right now. We just need 25 of you guys. Subscribe, submit it, and submit proof to us, and boom, you are entered into an absolutely free contest. We want to give this money away to you guys. As soon as we hit 100 subscribers, we are going to end the contest. We are going to raffle it off at random. So make sure you, look, folks, this whole time I was talking, you could have already done the whole process. Subscribe, take a screenshot, look at that Google form. We're going to pin the comment after the episode, or you can get it in the comment section right now. All right, moving on. We do have a couple comments now. Joseph, you did miss the Monday night props. We give that out earlier in the show.
Hey. Before we do that, let's talk about this one real quick because it's getting to game time. We got to get somebody in here. Who we starting? Braylon Allen, Johnson, or Ray Davis? Full PPR.
Allen for me.
That's what I'm thinking too. Braylon Allen.
John Allen tonight, man.
I will say this: know that he's going to get some carries, even though,
full point PPR. Ty Johnson is the only one that I would consider because of his receiving upside. So I, a little bit of dealer's choice there. I'm very big on Braylon Allen. I think that the Jets are going to be able to control this game. I think they're going to run the ball more. I think with a defensive coordinator as a head coach, they're going to lean on that running game, and I like Braylon Allen to score a touchdown there. Ty Johnson is the other guy I would consider. Look, I like Ray Davis, the rookie out of Kentucky, but I just don't think their run game is going to be able to get going. And I think that Josh Allen is going to use his legs a lot. So with all the uncertainty for Buffalo, I think I go Braylon Allen there. And then you agree or disagree?
I agree. Yep, completely.
And then Joseph, talking about Monday Night Props, we're going to give you a very quick recap. Obviously, you can check it out, but with this game kicking off, we are both on the Jets. Derek and I both like the Jets running backs. He likes Breece Hall. I like Braylon Allen. We like Ty Johnson out of the passing game. Tyler Conklin. Yep. Those are kind of that's our big takeaways. I'm on the under, but we really like the Jets running backs and Ty Johnson there. Anything else you want to give out to him real quick before we get off?
No, I'm a little bit higher on Lazard than you are, but I believe his prop is still at 3.5 at plus money. So I would take his over as well.
He is definitely one of Roger's favorite subjects. All right, Underdog Fantasy. We got a couple segments left, so we hope that you hang on with us here as we take you all the way up to Monday Night Football kickoff here. So Underdog Fantasy, Underdog Pick'em. Look, they've got for everything. They got NFL. They got NCAA. They got MMA. MLB playoffs. My Yankees. I think first pitch already happened.
Speaking of some baseball stuff.
Oh God.
Little Guardians, a little Jets tonight, both at 1.5.
No, get that bullshit out of my ad read.
Give me the run.
Yeah, we don't want that. Look, we're a Yankees podcast. No, obviously Derek in Ohio likes Guardians. I'm from Jersey, so I like the Yankees. But anyway, look, Underdog Fantasy. They're jam packed. They got specials. They like to give away money like we do. 50% deposit match, SGPN Doc. We get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Boom. We are giving out, of course, our Underdog plays all the time. So hop on over, join Underdog. Super easy process there. All right. We've got our Warriors and our Wussies this week. Our fantasy football Warriors and Wussies. These are guys that, frankly, against the odds, came out and balled. And guys that, what the hell are we doing? Why did you even line up on the field? So why don't you take our Warrior this week, and I will take the Wussie.
Let's do it. So AJ Brown is that dude when he's in the lineup. He's only suited up twice, but coming off that hamstring injury that he's been out, the last, I believe, 4 weeks, coming back with 6 receptions, $116 through the air, and a touchdown. AJ Brown really changes that Eagles offense for the better. Even though they did sputter a little bit coming off of a bye, which is still a little bit concerning. But AJ Brown, before injury, after injury, he's still the dude. So give me AJ Brown as week 6. Warrior, who we got in the Wussies side?
Look, on the Wussy side, it's pretty simple. I mean, this is a guy out here who is just he's getting cardio in. I mean, you talk about it in basketball, guys running up and down the court. Calvin Ridley, my guy, you went from being a degenerate to a degen. Hey, let me hit some parlays, be part of the family. Let's get back out there. I can get back on the field. A guy that I like this year, 0 receptions, 9 targets, 9 rushing yards. Look, yeah. I understand Will Levis sucks. He sucked at Kentucky. He sucks now. But, dude, 9 targets, 0 receptions. You got to figure out a way to get involved. Go over to head ball coach. Say, look, throw me a screen. Get me something.
Yep.
That's just pathetic. I mean, for all fantasy owners that unfortunately played Calvin Ridley this week, thinking that, hey, you know, Colts don't have a great secondary. This is a pretty good matchup for them. We got you. Calvin Ridley is the official wussy for NFL Week 6. All right, let's talk about some of the waiver wire targets staying in the fantasy space. Why don't you take the top 2 or 3, and then I'll finish this out there.
For sure. So Jared Goff is still out there on waiver wires in under 50% of leagues, and going up against the Minnesota Vikings, definitely a little bit of a concern there. Obviously, the Minnesota Vikings are undefeated, coming off a bye, but they are giving up the most, or have given up the most passing yards up until their bye week. Jared Goff in that Detroit Lions offense is rolling right now. So Jared Goff is definitely somebody to look at if you guys have either Dak Prescott or Caleb Williams as your starting quarterback. Jared Goff could be a nice option for you. Tank Bigsby, we already touched on him a little bit earlier with the ETN injury. Definitely going to be that head back over across the pond up against the New England Patriots. They are over there. They are staying this week. So I really think the Jags should have a little bit of an upper hand. It's hard to say that talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars, but should have a little bit of an upper hand against the Patriots, not having to travel to England. And then Pierre Strong, we already talked about the Cleveland running back situation as well, with Jerome Ford going down. Those Cleveland backs are starting to drop like flies. So Pierre Strong might be a good option against the Cincinnati Bengals, whose defense is god awful. For whatever reason, they did show up a little bit against the New York Football Giants this week, but I don't necessarily think that is going to continue. You know, as far as the Bengals go, that we kind of know that defense definitely has some big holes. So those 3 guys, definitely an option.
Yeah. Holden, we apologize. Did not see this, but Ty Johnson, appreciate the man. Joseph, we absolutely agree there. So hopefully you listen to Joseph. We would say Ty Johnson over Keon Coleman definitely there. You know, especially with Khalil Shakir playing and just kind of taking up space and, in our opinion, not being 100%. So hopefully you got that in, Holden, as well. All right. So finishing out our waiver wire targets, as Derek laid out, we're on Goff, we're on Bigsby, we're on Pierre Strong. Also, Bub Means, another injury situation. Chris Olave, likely, I would say definitely not going to play this week. Raheed Shaheed, a guy who popped up on the injury report a bit later with the knee injury. They're saying it's concerning. That what's concerning is he only has 3 days to recover. So, you know, if he's not able to play, Bub Means scored a touchdown last week. Him and Spencer Rattler getting some of that connection there. Against the Broncos defense that's going to not have Pat Surtain. I understand they're a good defense, but Pat Surtain can take away anybody. So now they're going to have to figure it out on the back end. And then Noah Fant. No Justin Simmons on the back end for the Falcons. He's a guy that has been getting involved. Seattle loves to throw the ball. Him and Geno have a good relationship. He's the number 12 tight end in fantasy football. I like the matchup, especially no Simmons. So those are our official waiver wire targets for NFL Week 7. All guys with less than 50% ownership. All right, we have got our early line locks, and then we're going to get out of here and enjoy this game. But before we do that, let me tell you about our friends over at BetUS. That's right, BetUS, one of the best sports books in America. They've been the best in the business for 30 years. Easily deposit with cryptocurrency and get lightning fast playouts. U.S. players always welcome. Of course, they're still running their deal where you could deposit $100 and have a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang, be rolling down the road there looking dope as hell. Of course, they still have that up for grabs. And then use our link and sign up with promo code SGPN. Get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. BetUS, favorite sportsbook in America. All right. Also, Rhythm. That is right, folks. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. They are the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for money lines, totals, spreads, and props. You can build your own model or just use one of theirs, right? You can get creative. You can say, hey, I like these stats. I want you to build me a model. Or you can be lazy and just say, you know what, Rhythm, you like this play. Let me tell you because you're successful. So the computers, the machines, they're taking over. And, hey, they want to win you some money too. So use Rhythm, promo code SGPN. All right, my friend, we are finishing up the show here. What are your early line locks? What do you love right now to the point where I need to get my money on this right now?
Yep. So before the Rashid Shaheed news breaks, and for whatever reason he's not going to be in there, give me the Broncos to cover the 1.5 point spread on Thursday night. Also, give me the Packers at as 2.5 point favorites. I'm for whatever reason I was thinking we may be on opposite sides of that one, but Houston has been turnover prone up to this point. For whatever reason, CJ Stroud has definitely shown that sophomore slump, and the Packers have been the best defense at taking the ball away. So give me the Packers at home as 2.5 point favorites, and then give me the Lions on the road against the Minnesota Vikings as 2-point dogs. They've been rolling before their bye, after their bye. Minnesota coming off their bye. For whatever reason, I think Minnesota is going to have that slip back to the Minnesota days of old. So give me the Lions as 2-point dogs this week.
Okay. All right. I'm smiling, because I am on the other side of one of those. So I'm excited to get to be on the other side there. First one for me, New England +5.5. Look, I thought Jacksonville in London was something special. They suck. They're really bad. I like what Drake May showed last week. I don't think the Patriots are that bad of a team. I'm going to be on a lot of dogs this week. I think dogs are able to come back with a bit of a vengeance here after we just saw favorites cover at an insane rate. So give me New England +5.5 there. I think they keep it close. I think the rookie's able to shred up that bad defense a little bit there. Houston. I do like Houston. I think Green Bay is a bit of a fraud team here. I think Joe Mixon being back is a huge addition for that team. He looked good last week. I think he's only going to get healthier. I think he's going to be able to take advantage of that defense there. They've been playing well, but Jordan Love, man, you want to talk about turnover prone. Let's talk about Jordan Love. That guy is the true definition of a gunslinger. He is, hey, somebody's down there. I'm going to just throw it up. Sometimes it works out against bad teams. I don't see it working out when you've got a really good secondary there in Houston. And then Tampa Bay, Baltimore over 48 points. I think it's two of the best offenses in the league right now. Baker is absolutely flying. All those wide receivers. I mean, Bucky Irving, even Sean Tucker was able to get into it.
Yeah.
If you want to throw Rashad White in there, you can. They put up a 50 spot against a pretty solid Saints defense. And then Baltimore, they obviously have with Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews caught a touchdown last week. So that offense is going. So I really like both those offenses in that game there. So those are 3 plays I've already bet this week. Hey, folks, look, beer's getting low, and this game is starting. So it's time to get on out of here. My friend, do you have anything to tell the good people before we get out of here?
Nope. Join the contest. Send us your subscription kind of stuff. Don't just subscribe on YouTube, but Apple Podcasts, TikTok, Instagram, X, Spotify. Give us those 5-star reviews if you like the show. If you don't like the show, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. But give us some feedback. Give us some feedback what you're looking for. The only way that we can improve is by getting that feedback. Otherwise, we're just going to keep doing what we like to do.
Yeah. Yep.
And we may end up doing that anyways, but
as my co-host wonderfully said, look, new show. We appreciate all the love, comment, subscribe, and the contest. Yes, if you've made it to this point, do yourself a favor. Subscribe. It takes 2 seconds.
$300.
Hit the proof and enter for $100. We want to give away our boss's money. So please let us give away this $100. Just subscribe. Again, we're about 25 subscribers away. And once we hit that, we're closing it and we are running the contest. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here. I know this game kicked off, so we hope that if you tailed, good luck to your bets. If you didn't, reevaluate your life. All right, my friends, you know what they say. A lock a day keeps the bookie away. And us here at the Degen Docs, well, we've got your prescription. All right, folks, from us here at the Degen Docs, we appreciate you. And we will see you back here Thursday night, 7:15 Eastern time, live, X and YouTube. We are out of here.
Let it ride.
What's up, Degens? Doc here. As a proud member of the U.S. Army and a lover of football, sometimes those two things cross over on here. But as you probably already know, as a lowly captain, these are just my opinions. These are not opinions that are representative of the entire DoD or the U.S. Army. The same thing goes for any references to any commercial products or hyperlinks. Again, that does not constitute an endorsement from the DoD or the Army. I hope you enjoyed the show, and as always, let's